we click record and get this going?
Yeah, we're live, pal.
Oh, look, you did.
Find the perfection.
All right, folks, welcome along to another episode of Shut the Fuck Up. Welcome along to another episode of Watch Graps With Me.
I thought that's what it was called.
Right, from now on, that's what it's called. Shut the fuck up. Welcome to another episode of Watch Graps With Me. I am Cutter, joined as always by Foxy and Jonathan, and our very, very special guest joining us today is LJ Cleary. And we're very, very grateful to have you here. How you doing, boss?
I'm great. Thanks for having me on. I when you sent me the, kind of gave me the outline of this, I was like, it's definitely something up my alley. Like, I love. I'm one of those people that like just will constantly talk about wrestling all the time. So I was quite happy.
Yeah, we've had one or two people on that are kind of said the same thing. I think we had Debbie Keitel on recently, and she said the same thing, which is just right in her wheelhouse. Just sit, watch wrestling, and have chats about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like I'll talk the ear off people. Like Foxy, like you've probably we've been on shows and flights stuff together. Like I'll talk the ear off someone for ages. If they give me the smallest opening, they're done. Yeah.
Oh, you are going to fit in well here, boy.
Yeah.
We have a really special episode as well. Given the season that's in it, theme picked by LJ was best WrestleMania main events ever, and we have each chosen what we think is the best one ever for whatever reasons that we'll explain later on. So we got an absolute doozy of a show for you, so make sure you stick around. If you want to watch along with us, the links to all of the videos we'll be watching is down in the description. Make sure you click on them and you can watch along with us, and let us know if you think we're right, wrong, stupid, whatever. No, comment, do something. Anyway, so with that said, I reckon we'll kick this off. So who have we got first, Jonathan?
Well, who we have first, funny enough, is the person doing this delightful intro that you keep knocking out of the park. It's yourself, Dennis. We're starting off with you. We're going to do these in chronological order this time around, and you, fittingly enough, have the oldest match on the card so far. So we're starting with you.
Oh, fittingly enough. What an absolute prick. Right, okay, so... fuck you. So, look, so I picked... the main event of WrestleMania 14. This was Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Shawn Michaels with the special enforcer Mike Tyson himself. So this one, to me, it's so vivid in my memory. Like the whole build-up with Tyson coming in, I think, was done just perfectly. Obviously, we're not scoring on the build-up today, but I think it was all done just brilliantly. It went into... it got mainstream eyes on the product in a big way. It was hugely successful. It was the largest, I have a little fact here, the largest North American gate they'd done in 6 years. And it really kind of gave them a kick in the ass and gave them a big old boost. Now it was as well, it was the last time we'd see arguably the best design for the WWE title ever, which was the Winged Eagle. That was done after this match. And also, it was Shawn Michaels' kind of swan song for the time being. He was absolutely wrecked. His back was fucked, and of course, he had well documented personal demons, drugs, lots of drugs, and he was notoriously difficult to work with at this time. But with all that stuff said, they went out there and they absolutely tore the house down. I personally, it's one of my favorite matches, and definitely my favorite main event in the last long time. So there you go. So I reckon we'll go and we'll watch it. So I'll give the countdown, and we'll go from there. So if everybody's ready, it's 3, 2, 1, go.
Ladies and gentlemen,
here we go.
Oh, straight off the think. Oh, yeah.
You really are at a half point to this just by having to think of.
This is quite fresh in my brain as well. Like I would have watched this probably twice in the last few months. That's why it was so when you said it, when you picked it, because I am a huge Michaels fan. Like I love, and it's obviously I grew up with when he come back. Oh, look at this entrance as well, Tyson. And you know what? Because this is so fresh in my head as well because I'm a big listener of, I don't know if any of you listen to Bruce Pritchard's podcast, Something to Wrestle With, and I just listened to the episode about this Mania, like about 2 weeks ago. So it's all like, and like him, then when they go into like all the Tyson stuff and all, so yeah, look at him doing the, oh, that's so funny, looking back now. And now Tyson's in AEW now, it's mental.
Yeah, he just showed up there, and like, as well, like, yeah, I always love the little, I know we see a lot nowadays, but you had like the DX band and everything doing the intro and whatnot. It was all just really fucking cool. Of course, this time as well, DX were the coolest motherfuckers going, in my eyes.
Like it kind of like reinforces to you sometimes. You see something that's really red hot in wrestling, like something that actually does just capture the imagination. Like that was like DX, like the perfect thing at the perfect time. You know, that's what DX was in a sense, because nothing else was kind of like on the same level like that. Because even WCW, even after like NWO form, like that had its course, and now you're kind of getting like DX like smack bang right when you need it. You know, it was perfect.
She's Marvin Hagler. Fuck.
Because this, the timeline could be odd. I loved it. I always loved this shot as well. Again, like these shots for me always came through like before I could really go back and watch like when I watched everything, like the Attitude Era, and I watched it all, was like these shots always came, and you know, like the Mania intros and stuff. You always see the one of Austin walking through the hall. There was always the one of Hogan when he's kind of like his arms go back and forth and stuff like it. I always like, and that one of Austin always stuck out to me. Like I wish they did. NXT kind of do it now with the big main events. They'll have the camera back as people are walking to the current. Like I think stuff like that can really like add a big fight feel. Austin is something else at this
definitely.
time.
Because it's kind of, it's more of a, because you see it in like boxing and all that stuff. You see more of the kind of walk from the dressing room kind of thing, and I think it does occasionally. I agree with you. It occasionally like just really build it up, like especially for somebody like Austin, who just fucking lived his character and was just.
Yeah, you 100% believe that's exactly who he was. I think like my timeline could be wrong now. Again, I think, and just because I was just thinking about Tyson there, this could be after he's bitten Evander Holyfield's ear off, when he bit a bit of it off.
Oh, actually,
this might be after.
I wonder, is it?
He's after, yeah, because
again, like that's just like look at yeah. But you know, it's mad looking at wrestling, you know, the way it is, because you know, like that obviously happened at the time. I wouldn't know like a good bit about boxing. My uncle, who got me interested, like big boxing fan, and I remember him telling me about that. And I was like, it's just, then obviously the more I learned about wrestling, I was like, like wrestling was probably the only industry at the time that like was like, yeah, like get Mike Tyson on board, because he was like very much like a bit of a public enemy. Like he was like, you know, he had legal trouble and he bitten his ear off, but he fits so perfectly into wrestling. It's great.
Oh yeah. I remember at that time they started selling chocolate ears.
That is hilarious.
I remember that.
Oh, look at Sean here. Sean is the man. Like my favorite wrestler of all.
You have no idea how fucked he was.
No, exactly.
That was brilliant. Like
that's why it's so good. Like you hear all that after, and like his back's in agony, and he's got all. Like I always heard that he was like, especially when he was, you know, having all these substance troubles and stuff, that he was just the perfect example of like he could switch it on. Like he could turn on that red light, no matter how bad he was. Like he could turn it on and go out, which is insane.
And there's something really special about. I'm sure. Look, LJ, I'm sure you've probably worked hard before.
Yeah,
and I'm sure there's a certain, what do you say? There's like got to be a certain fear built into you when you're going out knowing you're hurt already, and you're going like, how am I going to cover this up? How am I going to make it look like I'm fine?
Yeah, definitely for sure. Like I found it with the it's not the few times like I was like I haven't, you know, luckily like I haven't been a lot, but like I always found like for me personally wrestling, like especially when like planning matches and stuff, and obviously, you know, the kind of style, like looking at like the OTT show stuff, the style is very much so is one that like you do kind of pull a lot of it together, because it's so high octane and you do need to know who everyone is and stuff. And I would always have considered myself, and I still would be like, I kind of like to be one of the people that takes charge of it. Like I like being that person, so like I like knowing what everyone is doing, and I usually, and I'm like, you know, I would consider myself quite good at it. Like, I'm really good at remembering stuff. Like, I don't forget things. Like, I can be calm and communicate with like Foxy and stuff. Like, I can. But the 1 or 2 times when I was hurt, like, was one of the only times I forgot something. Which, like, to me, like, for me, like, that was not. It was not normal. Like, I never would forget stuff. But
because your mind wasn't focused enough. It was on
and
the
that's
pain.
when I noticed I was like, oh, it's weird. Like, and I was like, okay, like, you know, maybe next time don't try to just push it out. Like, I probably am best off just sitting out, because I know it's such a wrestler thing as well, and it's dumb. Like, again, I'll be a hypocrite, and I'll be if a younger lad says to me, I'll be like, what are you doing? Don't do. But if it's me, I'll be like, yeah, but I'm fine. Like, it's just a wrestling thing.
I've done it loads. Don't worry about me.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's one of those things that, like, as you become more experienced, then when these kind of situations come up, you start to learn to actually work smarter rather than work harder.
Yeah.
Like, if you have say for example, like your back is really bad, so you start working that into the match. So therefore, like, it's real pain, but you're actually portraying a like genuine.
Yeah, exactly.
Fake about it. It's being used.
That's definitely something that it's true, because like I kind of like started to get it a lot more for like just pre-pandemic, like for like 6 months before it all kind of kicked off, when I was doing like 3-4 shows a week, and I was like, oh, you know what, like I can do this quite well actually. I can do my massive, like, right, when I have OTT on Saturday, like, yeah, right, I'm gonna go balls to the walls. Like, I'm not gonna try hide it or anything. But then, like, yeah, I might be in I don't know, like Derry the night before in a smaller show, and like, and, you know, you don't like phone it in at all.
No,
like,
of
that's
course
not
not.
it is.
But you just work a little bit smarter.
Yeah. I think wrestlers can kind of get that, and like it can get dangerous. Then, like, well, you know, like, you know, and the whole thing of like, you hear people going like, oh, you know, I didn't, like, oh, I finished the match, I didn't take any bumps. Like, yeah, but I mean, you're smart, you're lazy, because if you have a really good smart one, then you've just done it well. Look at Sean
I can
here.
safely say, I think I've only been in a train twice, and lazy is not the fucking word to use for I'm a lot older and I'm a lot slower, but that fucker can move.
That would never have crossed my mind when it comes to LJ.
And I am one of the people as well. Like, if I am, like, look, if I say to myself, like, I'm awful for it. Like, I'm saying that, like, I'm awful for it if I'm hurt even sitting now training. I just so stubborn there, because again, like, if I'm training, like, I'm going for it. Look, I love that there with that Michaels does with the punches. I always love that. I don't know, he does it in him as well. I think it's in King of the Ring 95. He wrestles calm, and he's a face though, and he's doing all that at the start. Like, he's moving out of the way, punching him in the face, and it's so good. And, oh, look at the speed the way he hits the rope as well.
They're just, he went to speed, and I actually loved the little, you don't see very often, where he actually ran from us.
Yeah,
he actually was showing like, fuck.
Oh, look, he's on another level. Like, me and Michael May, like, obviously, like, we're really close. Like, been wrestling with each other, training for years, and big Shawn Michaels fan obviously as well. But like, Bret Hart is his guy, and like, I love Bret Hart as well, but Bret Hart is not my guy. Like, Michaels, like, I'm a Michaels. Oh, he's back. Yeah, and like, I'm a Mike. Like, out of them two, like, I'm a Mike. Probably see it in the styles of me and him as well, though, as wrestlers. Like from the entrance, and like, you get why, like, oh,
I can definitely see the Bret in Michael and the Shawn. You, like, you know,
it's very like, it's funny when we're talking about, we must have an argument at least once a month. Like, once a month, like, it'll come up, and then we're exact same reasons. Well, no, I think this, and then it's like, we both just end up like, yeah, but we also really like both of them. So I guess we're both winners here.
I was personally always more Sean. You know, it's always either Sean or Bret. I was always more Sean. For me, kicking them out. Nice.
That's it's strange that he got on the mic and said, you know, usually it's the you're out of here. That's the, you know, I think no matter what show on, and people are like, oh, you know, whatever, and I hate when wrestlers say like the crowd is bad, that when the ref goes someone out, that will never not get a reaction. Like, that always gets a reaction. It's so, I love it.
But since the bell rang at the start, they've had this crowd.
Hands like
absolutely. They didn't even have to touch for the first few minutes. I mean, you've seen it, they're circling around, and Austin just like, boom, and it's like, they haven't touched, but instantly, like, everyone's like, yeah.
And again, like I said, like I really do love Michaels. Like Jericho is my favorite wrestler of all time. Like he's my number one ever of all time. But Michaels, like I would probably say he is the best, like in my opinion. And but I'm just looking around there and like he was such an asshole. Like you fully know that back then he was like he has it when he walks out. He believes it. Like then he found on. I was spitting out the war. I wouldn't think that won't be doing that for a while.
Maybe odd. Like Michaels throws the best punches ever. Like he just gets it because like it's a nice snap, but they look like real enough that you're just like, oh, that could actually hurt if you caught it.
Yeah.
It's you. Whereas like everyone else, Austin especially, like throws an overhand, but you can always see the hand just like open last second.
Yeah.
Or the Rock, like with a slap, it's just like. But like,
Michaels has a good one.
Always came across as like no, this is real. Him and Brett.
Yeah, exactly. Him and Brett always goes back to him and Brett.
Yeah, but they're so similar, but at the same time they're like polar opposites at the same time.
Yeah, Michael's selling as well. Like the way he bounces. Really? Watching wrestling, like, and I watch like a ton. As I said, oh look at that! Jesus. Like I want to. I try my best, and I want to be able to like move, like, as in take stuff like when I'm on my head again. When oh nice. When I'm putting a match together, and if I'm like, if we plan like I'm gonna take something, like in my head I'm like I'm gonna into mine, but Michaels has like the quickness of like he can down and he's right back up so quickly.
And it's little things like that flip. The flip back bump into the corner there.
Yeah.
It looked so. But you see, I don't think I'd be cringing. I just think it was a cool spot. I wouldn't be cringing as much if I didn't know how it was.
Yeah. Like I remember hearing about the story of like Taker sitting backstage,
waiting for him,
taping up his wrist, and just like making sure.
That was actually after this match. That was because they all knew Shawn was kind of leaving, and he had such a reputation at that time that they didn't know whether he would actually do the job or not.
Yeah, like it's just mad to think. It's like, oh yeah, like he's taping up his wrist. As soon as the 3 count happens, like nope, starts taking off the wrist tape. Like nothing needs to happen.
Apparently, there was an argument afterwards with Shawn and Shane, where there's a spot at the end where Tyson puts an Austin 316 shirt over. They talked about it earlier on, but Shawn nixed it. He didn't want to do it. He didn't feel it was necessary, and Tyson did it anyway, and that. Because Shawn was at the time that Shawn, he hit the roof about it.
You wouldn't even mind if it was someone that was going to be around to like try and punish, but but like but with the likes of like Tyson.
You're muted there, LJ.
He's back. He's all good. He's back.
I'm sorry, my Wi-Fi just disconnected there. I'm sorry.
I've been having off a bit myself here. I'm trying to catch up with the match.
Yeah, usually it's Jonathan. Don't worry, it's not.
Yeah. You're not the only one.
This is the first actual like.
Would you like us to pause it, LJ, to catch up?
No, you can just like what around where is it at now, and I'll just
no. We'll okay. So guys, pause it there for a second. I'm pausing at 14:17. We'll say.
All right. You know what? I am at 14:17 now, so I'll pause.
Okay. So 3, 2, 1, go.
Yeah, like looking at this is the first actual like rest spot that they're actually doing. Because up until
with the side headlock, yeah,
just like non-stop since they started.
I gotta say it is, but it's mostly Shawn. Like it seems to be like Shawn is the one exerting.
He's bumping and feeding like.
Yeah, he's bumping around. He's running around. He's the one hitting all the speed. Like.
Oh, he's so good. He's just so good. I think it cut out when I always thought that was so stuff like see that exact thing there, like you just obviously like stuff gets diluted and it all kind of goes around in a circle, you know, like you don't see a spot for years and then everyone starts doing it again. Like I haven't seen someone do that in a long time, the thing into the post.
Actually, and it's so simple.
Yeah.
It's just literally just pull your legs back and like it makes sense. But I haven't seen it.
This is the lovely thing about watching old matches again. Like there is something that somebody's done. Like somebody's.
Sorry, you're breaking up there. Sorry, Jonathan. What was that?
I said it's a great thing about watching some of these old matches because you're gonna take something out of the matches you're watching. You know, there's always some aspect of it you can take. Like like a simple heel maneuver or some sort of like ring psychology. You know, you can take that with you now next time you're wrestling. You know,
that's something we've said on previous episodes. Is Foxy is creating a list of spots that he can do when he's back. List of different
we're very
bumps,
demanding about it, by the way. We are insisting on certain things. And we'll be very not do them.
So, something that I think I was saying while I was cutting out, I noticed I love that they did in this, and it's something that I've been doing like skull classes with people down at Phoenix like once a week since like January or something, just again for some form of training, and something that I like have noticed a lot in the matches that like I wish again I would like to change, or you know, like I guess like I'll try changing myself in my matches, is that before they went to the outside and stuff there, it was just before they went into that rest hold, and Michaels grabbed Austin's head after them punching each other, and then he shot him off, and then he did the I think he gave him the stun gun, and like I love that they went for nearly like, you know, a running spot you'd see at the start. Like I don't know, like no one has ever told me you can't do that in the middle of a match, but like you just assume it. Like I just assume like, well, that's done at the start. So now I'm really kind of like, there's a lot of things like that I'm coming out like this lockdown with. Like I don't have to do that all the time. Like there's no rule that says I like you can like, again, and that doesn't mean, you know, go crazy and like it's not going to make sense if you do like a really long heat and then start a match chain. Like that's not going to make sense. But there is things you can take that would normally be done at the start, or like, you know, it's so that way that you can add in, which I thought was really nice that they did there.
100%, and I mean,
because they'll be expecting certain thing after that, and then suddenly you kind of go, oh, that's pretty good, and you then catch them by surprise as well. Then, you know.
And this is like, I mean, obviously every wrestler is different as well, different size, different specialities, different whatever. And like you said, I think the people who are kind of watching wrestling and trying to Jesus brilliant, trying to just kind of get ideas like that, I think we're going to see it kind of thrive when we come back.
Like to me, like with everyone going into lockdown, obviously everyone's going to be in the same boat now. Like even experienced people are going to have to be like, okay, let's shake off the ring rust.
Oh yeah, it's a bit of everyone's kind of, you know, obviously like, the only thing they have over is experience, but everyone is kind of on the same, you know, playing field. 100%. Like you know, like obviously like I'd have more experience than other people, but I'm still very much like, right, like I have been inactive the same amount of time as you, so you know, who knows how my body's going to feel and stuff like that.
That's it. I think once classes start back up, like I was saying this to you the other day, Foxy, is like a lot of people, apart from obvious people, are going to like suffer from their cardio is going to be fucked. You know, their ring cardio is going to be fucked, not just cardio. But
that's going to be tough. No matter how much cardio you're doing at home, that is going to.
Yeah, it's not the same as ring cardio. You know, so like when you get back in there, I think classes are going to have to like ease in for everybody's sake, or you're just going to have a class full of dead people.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah, there's two approaches you can take. That you can do the like, right, like let's just do it like everyone,
let's just do it, see who passes out
like
first.
Everyone puke
Well, folks, welcome to your first class back after COVID. So here's Master. I'll leave you for an hour, and we'll see how you get on.
Like we in Fight Factory, we opened for a little bit in the summer when it was all right. Like we were back open for about maybe 2.5, 3 months or something.
Yeah.
When we came out of that, remember, like summer was basically normal last year. Like it was like everything was looking like it was coming back, and we opened. And I honest to God remember. And again, I was like, oh, you know, in my head, you know, my ignorant head, I'm like, oh, and again, because pre COVID, like I was having these long matches, like I had the cardio on, I was like, yeah, I can, and I'm still training, and I was like, like, you know, I'll be a bit rusty, like I'll be okay though, and it wasn't that, like, 'cause obviously, like I didn't forget how to do anything, and I remember doing with Justin Daniels. We got in and it was like, I'll do an international, do it one way, you know, whatever. I hip toss him, get up, just do it the other way then. And like I was like, yeah, like I there's probably been trainings where I've done this 10 times in a row.
Yeah.
And then
Nice, basic, nice, easy
and we
start.
did it, and I remember we finished, and I was like, oh my god! I was like, how? Like, and I didn't know what was wrong. I was like, am I that unfit? And I was like, you know what? What I actually found that it was, it's like whatever about your fitness is that there's that was nice, unreal. I always love when they do stuff like that where he's working the leg and then he counters it on the third one. But with wrestling, I was like, there's beats to how you breathe, and I never realized that like that was put into me. Like, I can have really good fitness, but like if I don't like let myself kind of breathe properly, then that's where I'm gonna get gas. And I felt like I was doing these running spots. I felt like I was holding my breath, then doing them, and then stopping, and then be like, rather than like my body's gonna have to adjust, and like all our body's gonna have to just like learn into when to take the beats. So where then it becomes subconscious that I don't need to be like, all right, do it now. Which like it's gonna. I'm really excited about getting back, you know, because again, it's gonna be a nice camaraderie. Everyone's gonna be a bit like, like we're all a bit, but it'll be cool.
Like,
I think everybody's going to be nervous about going up and saying, "Oh fuck, I've been now at this for so long. How embarrassed am I going to make myself?"
Yeah.
You know, like, but
that was nice.
I get what LJ is saying. I mean, for me, like, Jesus Christ, I'm excited to do something, anything again. Fucking hell. I know.
Got a wedgie them. That's like I'd stuff with gear. I really hate when my gear gets pulled and stuff. Always have. It's expensive. Oh, look at that chop block.
I remember that was one of the first things. I think it was either Connor or Joe told me when we were it was really early trade. This was in MSW, and we were learning about suplexes. And I always remember it's like, don't hold on to his fucking gear. Because if you rip it, you're going to have to fucking pay for it. You know?
Because they ain't cheap.
Yeah.
Ain't cheap. Like, some lads get really lucky that they can actually get, either they have a job or they do well in wrestling to be able to afford, like, multiple sets of gear. But, like, still, like, most of us don't have that kind of money.
Oh, yeah. I would get, me and the two lads would get, you know, we try to get a new set maybe every, like, 3.5 months or so, that like it would never look like we were in the same things. But again, like we paid for that, or I paid for it anyway because of the money I was getting from wrestling. It's like any money I was making from wrestling was just going back into it.
Yeah, you really invest in yourself.
Yeah, again, just before COVID, like I was probably the first time I was at a point where I was making a little bit of money off. I wasn't obviously like loaded or anything, but it was like I was understanding how I could manage it and stuff. But yeah, gear is expensive.
Like, I'm not gonna lie, because like since being in COVID, like it just fucking. I didn't realize how much I relied on the money from wrestling. Yeah. Like for my day-to-day like life, I was just like, goddamn, like I can't pay a bill. Like I have to like really like struggle now to like manage money. But,
and it's mad because like, 'cause even though like it wasn't like for me and you, like it wasn't our full-time livings, but then you just don't have that extra added like in the pocket that you normally would, which if it was mad.
Cash in hand isn't there.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say as a fan, it's the complete opposite of that. Whereas
you're probably saving loads of money.
No, like I legit, likely, I like went to 2 months without drinking because there wasn't any OTT show. The guy went accidentally.
Wow, that's mad. Yeah, I wouldn't have thought about. I wouldn't have thought about it with the drinking stuff. I didn't even think of it that way. Yeah. And then that with tickets and merch and like your transport and Jesus. Well, hopefully by the end of the year you're spending loads more again.
For me, it was.
I also would like to burn a hole to my back. That would be super.
For me, it was a kick in the stones because it kind of felt like I was gonna finally get to kind of debut.
Yeah.
And kind of had this cool tag team stuff that we were hoping to get going, and Everton, and then we got shut down and. It hasn't opened since. It's been, Jesus!
Yeah. In the two.
He's still going.
Wow, Mike Yoda is so young there. Wow, I didn't. Yeah, that's the thing with the with obviously like COVID and the Oh, that is so nice backdrop. The way Sean sells as well. Look at him. He's unbelievable. Once see Bret Hart selling like that, no, only joking. Bret Hart is unreal. The way he takes them
Michael
punches
May
as well.
Are you just trying to aggravate Michael May here?
He's livid watching this now.
What you were saying about the the COVID thing, it's so true because no matter how, like, you know, it affected everyone differently, but like, you know, mentally it affects everyone on the same scale because, you know, like that to you, like your debut to someone else who could have lost like their big match, it's the same, like, because you feel the same way about it, like
well, that was everything to me. Like I said when I started doing it, I'm one match, that's all I want. You know, like, you know? And
I 100% get it, and you will get it though as well. Like that's the thing I've really had. Oh, he's so good. Like, just before I actually made that point, we talked about the way he hits the ropes earlier, and there's something that, and again, I'm just thinking when I think of modern wrestling, you know, we all know how to hit the ropes. I know how to hit the ropes and all fine, but again, with the kind of style now, like, because, you know, maybe there is more, you know, that you kind of have to remember, like you're more likely to maybe slow down a bit because you're maybe like, oh, is this person gonna? But Michael just hits every time, whether he runs or he gets whipped, he just mills them, and it just looks so nice.
And I think there's a confidence and an art to that where it's like, I'm going. My opponent's either fucking ready or not.
Yeah.
We're gonna, you know.
It's a level we all aspire to be at. But what you're saying about like, you will get that debut 100%, because that's the thing about this, like, obviously, like, it's been over a year and it is crazy. There's no point, you know, trying to sugarcoat, like, oh, it's been awful, you know. It's not going to last forever. I'd like to think that we're in the second half of however, like, we don't know the timeline yet, but we're in the second half of it, and like, this is probably like, I seen my nanny today, and I was like, you know, this is the first, that probably the only time this is ever going to happen in my lifetime, and she said, it's like, in my lifetime, this is the only thing that's happened like this, like, so like, when it does end, this is gonna be looked at. It's such a crazy time. But
I gotta say, you know, I'm always looking on the bright. I'm a positive person, so I always try and look on the bright side of everything. And one thing I will say, sorry, I just love 3.
There he has it.
Now we'll look, because the aftermath of this is, of course, just as famous, and it is the clip that was played on all mainstream things as well.
Yeah, I'm the same as you. Like, you know, positive about all this. And obviously, you have the bad days as well. But like,
of course, look, there's been days where I've just wanted to sit on my ass and play games. You know, of course. You know, and that's, but it's realizing that that's okay. You know, that's fine. If that's what helps you not go crazy, then do that. But being positive, I've gotten closer with a lot of people. I've made more friends in the wrestling industry as well, and there's more doors have opened for me. So, you know, I'm taking positives.
Me, I am so excited because like we talk about, like, everyone being kind of in the same boat where, like, with the ring rust. But I'm more excited about the possibility of getting a lot more new faces onto shows. That desperately, like, deserve it, because, like, they were just sitting in the wings beforehand. So now maybe they'll actually get a chance. Like,
exactly.
Oh, here we go.
This made, like, you know, Austin was coming up, the Bret match. You know, you can look at, like, my favourite Bret Hart match is actually, it's not the Mania 13, it's him and Austin at Survivor Series 96. Like, that is, like, to me, it's a proper, like, I don't know if you can see, I'm doing the Cena, you know, like, the Cena hand, like, it is unreal, it is on point. But, you know, the Bret match obviously made it, but this match to me made, like, really made it. And it's the way Sean, and look, I'm sure Sean was hard to work with. I gotta defend him because I do love him, but he made Austin, he had no problem in that match there.
You see, I feel the inclination, and I'm sure you would be too, like, if you're dickhead in the back, you're dickhead in the back, but if you go out and you're a professional, I mean, it's hard to have a problem, you know.
It's obviously, like, it's hard with Michael, because then, like, you know, sometimes he wasn't, like, you look at, like, you know, like the Vader match and stuff, like, but then, like, in this case though, here it comes, it's coming. Oh no! There's your that was.
He
So
went
there you
down
go,
like a
guys.
ton of bricks.
That was WrestleMania 14 main event, Shawn Michaels versus Stone Cold Steve Austin. So, as I said, I don't need to tell you anything more about because I think we covered most of there. All we'll do is we'll start with the scoring. So, I'll hand it to you, Jonathan, first, I think, if you'd like to go through scores for me for that particular one. I obviously can't vote on this one because it is my choice.
Yes, exactly, and that would be cheating. We don't want to
That
do
would
that.
be cheating. And why
cheating.
would I ever do that?
Why would you ever do that then? That would be terrible. You know, completely unsportsmanlike. But yeah, like I mean, like you kind of touched at length there. Like Sean, like HBK was a fucking star in this match. Like he committed to every single bit of action in that, whether it be even like as I said, running the ropes, he was even committed during. And regardless of the whatever he was like backstage and the kind of shenanigans and ego going towards it, he delivered. Like he was 10 out of 10 in this match. And if you had said beforehand, this is the last match, you'd actually believe it. It's like, you know, he actually like put everything into it to make it like a good match. And the main thing is that Austin like was put over massively. You know, like even from the little character moments before the match and into the match, and then the moments with Tyson, it's like peak attitude era in a way. Because like this is WrestleMania 14. Like when you like compared to the WrestleManias we see now, like you know pre-COVID, with these massive outdoor stadiums and lasers and fucking like AR graphics all over the shop. This one's so claustrophobic and so like chaotic. You know, it feels such a throwback. You know, to a far gone time of wrestling. And this match is like very much a cherry on top of that. So I'm going to rank this high, Dennis. I think you've really knocked it out of the park. I'm giving this a 9.5 because when I was thinking of matches myself, I was thinking of stuff that like where it's the last match of WrestleMania and they stick the landing. Like it's actually they deliver on what they wanted to do for a last match, and you cannot get any better than this for a WrestleMania around this time with these people, with Mike Tyson and Pete JR just going like fucking canary on commentary. Like you cannot get better than that. So yeah, I think
9.5. Nice. Our guest LJ, would you like to?
Yeah, I'll give you my score. You know, I think Jonathan said everything perfect there. The main point I would agree with is that you know it's it's only in what like a less than 20,000 people arena. Like it's the same arena that they'd run for a Raw, but like it still feels like Mania, which is amazing. You know, like when I would have proper gotten in, you know, when I started growing up with it, the only Manias I kind of seen that were 21 and 22, but they'd already done like 18 and 19 in the huge places. Yeah, but you know what? Like you hit everything there. I already said I think it's amazing because like I love both people. I love watching Austin, and I love watching Michaels. I'm going to give it a 9. And you know what? The only reason I'm not going to give it a 10 is because I wish Tyson counted a little bit slower at the end.
That's actually a really good point, and that is I was actually going to say that is the fast count. I get what they were trying to do. I think was that, but I don't think it was necessary.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're not gonna care that much. Like it's Tyson. You're not gonna like critique like, oh, you should have done this. Like you got in.
What's your cadence?
But that's fair. So a 9 from LJ Cleary on that one, and Foxy.
It's very hard to argue against it. It really is because like knowing what we know now, like Sean going into it completely hurt, like this, not knowing that this is his last match, but like fully committing to it, fully committed to putting Steve over. Steve is like red hot at the time, like he's on the major rise. Then you have the cherry on top with Tyson, and Tyson being a very effective use of a celebrity like guest.
Very true. Yeah.
And utilized properly. You said with the count, yes, but from what people have said about him is that he's such a fan. I put down to like his excitement as well.
I was to say it's
so
you're like you know
I get to my spot now. Yay!
Yeah, true.
But like fully committed to it, like his bumping and feeding is just unreal. Like he's making Austin out to be like the top man in this match. So like it's a high 8.5 to me.
Nice.
I'm not giving you higher, man. There's other matches to go.
That's true. That is true. And honestly, like I'm aware of them and of the matches that are coming, and there's some real competition coming here. Like
it's a pretty strong class. Like
but like, do you know what? Like like obviously like we'll know the match I picked later, and it was more for like you know my personal feelings on it. But like that was a good one. Like that's one, like again I said I'd only watched it like. I've watched it very recently. I watched it with Eva, and we were like, "Oh, this is so good!" Like we were like, "This is so good."
And that's the thing about that we've actually noticed ourselves from doing this show is we're going back, and when a guest suggests a theme to us, it causes us to go back and actually research certain things, and we're finding little hidden gems. That we haven't watched. For instance, with Debbie Keitel, I know I've already name dropped her once, but I'll name drop her again. She was on our last episode. In the research, Jonathan actually found a fantastic Bull Nakano and Alundra Blaze match that I'd forgotten completely about. And I mean, I wouldn't have watched it without this type of thing. So I do love kind of finding those little hidden gems. And I think judging everything on different eras is correct too. For instance, when we get to your one later on, that's a different era and it can be judged in a different way. Yeah, if you know what I mean, like because it was a different story being told, different everything like that. I think we're in for a close one tonight, boys. So with that said,
that's a pretty fucking solid start. Like that's a decent starter. That is like you know.
Yeah.
I have yet to win one of these though, Jonathan, and I don't want to get ahead of myself. So. So who have we got next? I believe it's Foxy. Is that right?
It's me actually. Yeah, I'm.
Oh, it's actually Jonathan. Sorry, apologies.
Yeah. So again, like now, like I said, we've done a few like Mania main events already on the series. Like we've done Mania 17 and 26, which would have been in the conversation already. But we have this kind of weird like, will we, won't we, kind of like conversation on whether to do these again. But I did think of one that I actually really did enjoy because I watched it live at the time. And again, I'm thinking of matches that like kind of like the main events that really do stick to landing, which is kind of ironic because someone lands on their fucking head in this match. But it's Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle at WrestleMania 19. Now, for me, this is like during one of the best periods of SmackDown television. Like they were by far a hotter show than Raw, and I don't think it was even a contest. They had a better roster, they had more interesting stars, they had a more interesting show overall, and more accessible because around this time we all would have been able to watch it. Like
this is when Heyman was running it, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Heyman, yeah. And again, you
were
watch
it was shown on Sky One on the weekends.
Yeah, brilliant. So everyone was into it. Everyone loved SmackDown, and this was the perfect match to end it. So you had Brock Lesnar coming in as your Royal Rumble winner, and like naturally with Lesnar, he looked pretty fucking unstoppable. But you also had Kurt Angle, who was on a great one as it was. If I'm not mistaken, he may have beat the Undertaker. No, he did not. That was
he beat Big Show, did he?
Big Show. That's the one.
Yeah.
That's the one. Yeah.
Years mixed up. So yeah, and even like again, both these guys were on a super run. Angle was a great champion, but like he had issues like backstage as well with his neck. So you weren't to know that when you were watching at the time, because this, to me, I remember this being so 50-50. Like I did not know which way this is going to go, not realizing about Angle's injury and everything else. So watching this match live, I'm thinking like I have no idea how this is going to go, but I'm going to enjoy it either way. So that's why I picked it, because again, once you watch the match and how great it was, this is a WrestleMania main event by every stretch of the imagination. So, so yeah, if everyone is happy enough, I will count us in.
Okay. Yeah, awesome. We're all good.
So on 3, 2, 1, play.
I don't think there'll ever be two people like these again with the like, you know, how quick their eyes was. Obviously, Rousey, you know, did unreal and she came in really hot. But, you know, these didn't have, obviously Angle had won the Olympics, but, you know, mainstream kind of attention was on Rousey, obviously like a lot when she came in. But especially Lesnar. Like,
God,
you know,
I
whatever.
love that
like,
title. Sorry, Lesnar, I just love that title.
Yeah. I think... Like this is like Angle's one of the best ever, and everyone will be glad saying that. But even still now, Lesnar is one of the best in the world. Like now, when Lesnar comes at like have those matches Lesnar was having with AJ, and especially the one with Daniel Bryan, like he still puts on absolute bangers.
He can still definitely go. I think we discussed this the other day when Brock is motivated and he's into a match, he can make some magic and he can really put over some people. Angle, of course, look, he's a wrestling machine. Even when, you know, much like Michaels, even when he was fucked, he was still going, and he was still going to an incredible level. You have two guys with huge amateur backgrounds, and that's what they're showcasing right now in the opening.
Yeah, they're both very accomplished, like amateur wrestlers, and then they've transitioned to pro wrestling so well that they've had. There was no two ways about it. They were going to like be pushed to the moon, one way or another, because like their talent speaks for itself.
But this one's also booked very smartly because, like, this match had followed Rock versus Austin 3, and again, you weren't to know at the time, but that was going to be Austin's last match. But you could tell from like the afters that like the fans would have kind of caught on. It's just like, oh, that I think that was Austin gone, you know. So in a way, like, it made sense that they weren't going like a mile, like 50 miles an hour straight away, because the crowd wouldn't have taken into it, you know. Because they probably learned a lesson from last year with the Jericho Triple H. The crowd were burnt; they were done. And then
this had Hogan and Vince on it as well, and Jericho and Michaels, which were all like there was so many big matches on this.
I think it stands as one of the best WrestleManias ever, really.
Like 19 was so stacked.
From like 17 to 23, they were, or 24 actually, I'll throw in there as well. Just all of them were of a superb quality overall. You know, and they really nailed these ones. But like I said, sometimes the hardest thing to do was to keep the crowd going for the final match. And so, like, sometimes they'll have that which like say Jericho Triple H or Orton Triple H at a lot of Triple H matches, to be honest. I don't know if that's a pattern or not. But
one thing I constantly remember about this time was just at the time, like, being so in awe of like the evolution of Angle's character, because you know, like, I remember him debuting, you know, as the good wholesome drink your milk, you know, American boy, and evolving into this badass in a pretty natural way.
Because he's like, obviously, like he's so convincing as the machine, the badass, because he legit is, you know, like he's a legit wrestler, obviously. But I think in overall, with the like his backstage stuff, like him as a character is hilarious. He's proper hilarious. Like, he really can make you laugh.
His comedic timing is really underrated. Like, he's genuinely funny.
I love that. Like, I can, you know, I'm just watching this here, and like that there, like, you know, the way like they're just wrestling around, and you know, I would imagine that this is all, you know, they haven't talked about any of this stuff in the match. They're probably just wrestling around, because obviously if that was like, you know, someone else against Lesnar, probably wouldn't have started like that. If it was someone else against Angle, like, you know, because it's either like if it was someone on Angle, like they're wrestling, but Angle's just kind of tossing them around, and if it's Lesnar, like, you know, it's probably kind of going straight into power. And this is like there's so much they can get away with that, which I think is amazing.
That's it. I think you're right. There had to be a thought going through. It's like, well, you know, the start of the match, let's just go out there and do what we can do. Let's just go out there and chain and just put on a bit of a clinic for a little while, and then we can transition to the more intense things.
That's another thing, and obviously I was talking about with these two, but in overall, I think that's another thing that just in my opinion, and you know, when I'm saying kind of like Brit Rest, I mean the Irish and English shows, like the ones that I was on, you know, I just think it's quite
that was a beautiful German.
Unbelievable. Look the way he sells it as well. I just think it's
the elevation he got.
I haven't. You know what? It was only a second. An ad came on, but it's alright. Like, it was literally a second long.
I got hit with one too. But I'm just gonna flick it forward a little bit. I've yet to invest in fucking ad block.
I'm never doing that. I'm never paying for YouTube to, like, as much as I hate it when they come on, like, not a chance.
I just say, fuck you, YouTube. I'm not paying for your goddamn premium.
It's very important.
Please don't demonetize this video. Thank you.
Looking at the match so far, like, it's you don't realize some of the subtleties that's in play already. I mean, they haven't gone full on with the storytelling of it, but Lesnar is injured in the ribs, and every so often Angle is actually throwing a couple shots in there just to, like, just remind you. It's like, oh yeah, Brock is actually injured, and then they play off it later on, but like up until that, it's like, god damn. Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a touch ahead of you or something, but I just got a German into the turnbuckle.
Like,
I guess that's just about to happen. Oh yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna.
No, I said yeah.
There we go.
Oh, jeez.
I think it was something I was saying there about the you know, them wrestling around. Like, I really think it's something missing from like our shows, and I you know, it's tough as well now. It's easy for me to say because I was very much trained in that style, like of wrestling, like more the technical, like the mix of the British and American style, you know, like, and that's the thing, like, all trainers are different. There's some that are going to be better at showing other things, and again, like, I always say me and Michael, because like we trained so much together, like the last 8 years or whatever it is, and like we got so comfortable being able just to wrestle with each other now, and like I think it was, you know, something that was slowly starting to maybe creep in a little bit, but it's something that I would generally be really pushing for, like more emphasis on the like the that wrestling side of it, because I'm much more of a, like, I would consider myself much more of a like entertainment quote unquote wrestler than like a wrestler's wrestler. Like, I'm not like a Kurt Angle obviously, but I really appreciate the being able to, or even, you know what, and not even if you're going to do in your matches, getting comfortable with it in training. When you go travel anywhere, like you go to Japan, Mexico, whatever, the basics are all the same language, so it doesn't matter how you can like, once you can wrestle like that comfortably, like, you'll do well everywhere.
Yeah,
but you know what? As well,
technical base, you can't really go wrong elsewhere. You can build on top. You know?
But as well, like, even you were saying, I think it's almost, it's kind of extra impressive when it's busted out and you don't expect it. You know what I mean? Like, you may not expect it from a certain person or a certain type or blah blah, and then suddenly they bust it out and you're like, oh, holy shit! It can be really impressive. Obviously, they have to be in there with the right
really
person.
Impressive, but at the same time, it's also like it you can present your whole like persona and never do it.
Yeah.
So by the time, so you keep that in your back pocket. So for example, if you never been presented at being very good at submissions, like the time when you actually like it's worked into a story, that's when
and you bust one out.
Technical ability, and just like, no, he's definitely studied up. Like, you can have the commentary like really put you over. It's like, but you're actually like a very accomplished like technical guy. So
it's something that definitely, like, I want to really try. Like, we do it a lot in, you know, in Fight Factor. Like, again, it's just kind of the way, like, I would have been like really heavily trained. It's something that I want to really push a lot. Just people won't realize it until they get somewhere, to like go somewhere with it, and you have that kind of like confidence in it, like the wonders it'll do. And again, you know, when people talk about things like you know, I got to the show 5 minutes before my match, and you know, we couldn't plan that much. Well, like, that's when, if you have the bit of confidence there, you can spend that 5 minutes planning, all right, the stuff at the end you really need to, and then you have the rest in your back pocket that, you know, well, like, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
And look at this, Dave. They're milking this headlock, but not for a second am I doubting the seriousness of it. If you know what I mean? They're both legit. Selling. Yeah, that's a legit. It's not just like, oh, we're taking a break now.
It's way Angle just kind of switched it there, as if to say, like, because even the crowd are kind of like quiet, and then he switches, ranks it, and the crowd are going, ooh, and like it gets them back into it a little bit. But it is a case of, like, no, he's actually trying to.
And that's interesting, going from a rest hold to a submission. I think
what's really good about, particularly about that, like, you know, again, I don't like the term, but it is the term. Like, the term is rest hold. Like, that's just what they're called. But what's so good about this is that, like, there's no rest in it. Like, they're so active in it. Like, they're so active within the whole.
It's kind of like control Lesnar. It's not as if, like, he's trying to keep Lesnar down. Like, it's all it makes sense for the match, because he's obviously going to be like physically faster and more aggressive than Angle is. So Angle has to play smarter. Like, this whole match makes complete sense with 2 people in it. That's what I love about it.
Even just a little thing from Lesnar, like, he pressed up so that he could actually shift his body around, even while still in the hold. But it's just like Angle's no longer on his back now.
Yeah. See, when I don't know, again, I might be like, did he run him into the corner there on 2 corners? He was at no way out the month before. Doing that is what breaks Angle's neck. If you go watch the 6-man, that's on no way out the month before this. Like, and that's how he breaks it. He goes boom into the turnbuckle. And again, I only listen to Angle just start. And you can see it snap. Like, you can see the way his head goes as well. And I only Angle has a new podcast as well. And the first episode is on this. Like, it's on Mania 19 at this match.
What, did he hit his head, or was it like the whiplash effect?
Oh, it's a proper, like, you can basically see his neck like wrapping around the buckle and like.
Actually, just cracked my neck doing that there, but if that's
because
I was doing that impression, and there was here, click, 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 click.
if you in the build up to this, again, I don't know if you remember, they did like, so again, this is just from what he said in the podcast. It was like, you know, they didn't know if he could get to Mania, and they were like, right, well, we're gonna have to take the title off you on the SmackDown. So they did, like, they advertised like Lesnar and Angle on like SmackDown 2 weeks before, but they had Angle's brother, I think it was, like, come out, dresses him, and then Angle rolled him up because it was like just before the match. Angle was like, no, like, I'll do it, like, I can do this match, like, it'll happen, which is mental. I recommend listening to that podcast if you haven't. It's really, really interesting.
I actually wasn't aware that Angle had started one.
Yeah, it's with Conrad, he has about 8 of them now. Like
he gets around, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Man's got the hook up.
It was such a simple little spine buster there, but done again effectively.
It's the first major power move. Other than Power Slam, it's the first major power move that's been used in the match, and it's just like so effective looking.
Yeah.
My God, I love Lesnar's sell on everything.
Yeah, that's why he's amazing.
Yeah, he just the punches and like, I mean, we were only discussing this the other day, and just like even modern day Brock, and just the man is underrated for his selling ability.
Yeah, I don't think, like, I really think you know, maybe it's more of a wrestler thing as well, because I think wrestlers do look at him as like how amazing he is, because he's legit one of the best of all time. Unbelievable.
I think some people, for some reason, have a bit of a hatred for him because he's such a good businessman.
Yeah, like,
you know,
and obviously I get that side of it, because, like, you know, you want to, like, you know, and I get, like, and it can be, like, you know, because I still watch it as a fan, and those periods when there was no champion, like, it is a bit, like, you know, like, it can be a bit frustrating. So I get it. Now, once, you know, they have brought in the other, you know, now they have the 2 world titles, but when there was a period when I think there was just, he was the only world champion, and, like, it can be a bit, it's just a bit strange. So I understand that as well. I think he's going to be someone, you know, that, like, wrestlers really, like, you know, they understand that he's one of the best ever. But then when he eventually does, I guess, whenever have his last match, I think fans will then really start to be like, wow, like, he was unbelievable.
What a kick out.
I think it's that kind of weird aspect of it where like I don't think you can deny the talent. I don't think you can deny the ability in the ring, and because people will kind of pick hold to just it'd be like a criticism of him as himself or whatever it is. But like, in a way, like, I always kind of see that, like, at least from Lesnar's point of view, as a bit of a nitpick, because as Dennis said, like, you can't deny him for being a good businessman, and you can't deny the fact, like Lesnar, less is more. If he's on Raw every week, it diminishes the fact that he's such a monster.
Yeah, when he shows up, it's such a big deal.
Yeah, but it's the Undertaker effect. Like, if the Undertaker was on like Raw every week, you get sick of him, you know. But because he was like fucking Santa Claus once a year.
I love that reversal out of the F5.
Yeah, that was nice. Oh.
This is one of the various WrestleMania where Michael Cole loses his voice.
This is the second out of the 2 we watched about that Mike Chioda is the ref for, which I just noticed there.
That's actually a very good point, yeah.
Hang on, let me check the other 2 matches.
Putting Foxy to shame.
He's good at what he does, man. I remember full well, like, him actually reffing in the Hell in a Cell with Jericho.
He's gone now, isn't he? Is he?
Yeah. Has a podcast with Conrad as well.
Jesus Christ, Conrad. Conrad's some kind of...
I haven't listened to that. One, but like, it's so many.
But I remember that Hell in a Cell match because, like, he was the only referee that actually climbed the cell.
Yes. I remember that.
Was that with Jericho and Triple H?
Yeah. And I just thought that was brilliant because, like, that doesn't happen.
What a visual as well, yeah.
Yeah. Like, referee's up there and it's like, okay, submission, a pin, he's counting it. And he's selling the cell as well with each
That's a spill.
I've always been partial to Lil Nate.
Yes.
As far as refs go, I always loved them. Back for thing, and I remember as well in recent memory his argument with Jericho when
when
Neville Pac now got himself hurt. They had the little blow up in the ring.
Yeah. Like, but like, remember the big sprint we had to do?
Mania 24.
Oh
yeah.
yes.
Beautiful.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. Like,
Do you know?
He was so serious. Look at him.
I have a funny like this would be a problem. Like, I don't think this has ever been said on the podcast or on. Like, it's quite funny from a story regarding, like, it just reminds me of Charles Robinson. Is that so? Oh, that's nice. Nice kick out there. And so when we were when Five Arch used to be in Bray, I don't know any, like, Five Arch used to be in Bray before it was in town. I was there for years, and within this would have been in the last like 6 to 8 months of the gym. And Darren Carney, like, you know, he joined about a year before the gym moved. And I remember there was that was nice. There was a gym show, and like Darren he'd only been training like maybe like a month or two now. He's probably better than like me still at the time, and I'd been training like 4 years. But anyways, like, we were like, we got him to ref, and I was like, oh, it was, you know, it's cool. Like, he was like, oh, that's pretty cool. You know, a gym show, there was like, I don't know, like 30 people there. You know, it's just one for some of us. I remember Michael, because it was Michael May said to him, was like, yeah, but like, you can ref, but like, and obviously he was like ribbing him. He's like, you can ref, but like, if the only way you can do it is you have to write an essay about like why. You just hit an F5 on mine again. I don't know.
Oh yeah, no, you just hit mine too. Yeah.
He was like, you have to write an essay like on why you want this, like why you want to ref, and well, see, the thing was, like, obviously, like, Michael's saying that to, like, at that point, like me and like Darren are already really close. Like, that's a proper kick out there. Like, like we're already all really close, like, very quickly. So like he does it, like, he knows he's messing. Like, it's not like, this might sound like, you know, we're going to someone on their first day saying like, you got to do this. They're like, oh, okay. Like, Darren, like, he knew he was in on the joke, but we kept saying it leading up to, like, you better have that essay like done. Like, you need to have that done.
No,
and then
I can believe that Michael May can pull that off. To, like,
very straight face, like, well, yeah.
I want to do your research. I want you to give me these of why leg locks are important, right? like I can believe you can carry that off.
Yeah, and then again leading up to it, like, you better have that essay done, and he's like, I'm not doing that, and then we were like, you have to. And then I think on the day of the show, him and Michael were getting the dart out the break together, and I think he like wrote it, he did it on the dart, and then before the show we were like, right, Darren has something to say.
He must have done it on, like, the back of a copy or something.
Yeah, and I think he just did it on his phone, and so we all sitting, we only had about like 20-30 chairs, that we all sat down, and Darren stood at the top of everyone, and he was like, you know, hey, you read out this essay, and he was like, you know, and it was about like 2-3 minutes him talking, and he was like, you know, my biggest influence would definitely be Charles Robinson. You know, when he did that run at Mania 24 for the Undertaker Edge match, you know, that's what inspired me to do this. And I got a standing ovation, like, huge applause.
Please say that is saved somewhere.
Like, it's, you know, there could be now. It's probably gone, but like, I thought there was a video of it for a while, but I don't think. Oh, that pin was unbelievable.
Lovely roll up.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
But yeah, I must ask him to see, does he still have the file saved on his phone or anything. But yeah, that was like, I don't think that's ever been said in anything. That was like that was very funny at the time, because I always remember he was like, yeah, Charles Robinson, my big, and because, you know, I actually nice we did a rumble on that show and we just like, Darren, like, just go out in the ref thing, like, it'll be funny. And it was, as everyone was walking out, we were like announcing names, you know. It was a rumble, but like quick intervals, you know. And Darren walked out, and our ring announcer, or like a lad that we had trying like announce, and called him Darren Robinson.
You have the fringe to go with, at least.
Yeah. So that's it, right, Foxy? Next time, whenever the next OTT show is announced, we want a fucking essay. You know? And just beforehand, we'll all sit down around the ring and you can read it to us.
Yours needs to be like 5 pages.
Yeah. Well, we have Foxy isn't the judge, right? He's a something tell the situation. We need to find Ireland's second referee.
No, sorry, the spot is coming.
Here we go. Yeah, here we go.
I only seen a clip of him the other day hitting it in OVW.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. Oh no!
Isn't a man like that? That's always going to be etched into all of our brains forever.
Yeah.
One thing I always think it is, that must have hurt like a bitch in Angle's side. His head went full force into his ribs.
But bear in mind as well, like Lesnar, like did kind of hit that. Like he went like halfway across the ring with a shooting star. Like,
well, it wasn't as LJ said there. Like that was his old finisher. Back in OVW, he used to do a sweet shooting star press. It was
wasn't the same.
It's not like it was beyond the realm of possibility for him to do. Kurt Angle has arguably, and in my opinion, the best moonsault I've ever seen.
I think so. I think so.
It's very graceful.
Yeah, and it's the height he gets off the launch of it. There we go.
There it is. New champ.
You can definitely tell who was influenced by Kurt Angle in regards to the moonsault.
For sure.
Yeah.
Because he did it recently off a fucking ladder. So,
yeah. He hit him. That one Jordan hit looked unbelievable. Yeah. I thought as well. Yeah.
Jordan always had a fucking great moonsault.
Yeah. So there it is, new champ.
There we go, guys. New champion Brock Lesnar wins with a broken frickin' neck. That was Jonathan's choice. So to change up a little bit, Foxy, would you like to start this one off?
Yeah, like with that, like this particular episode is very difficult because like all the matches that are chosen are top level. Like they're main events for a goddamn reason. Like because you have the caliber of like athletes that are doing it.
Yeah.
But, like Angle and Lesnar are just on a different level. Like they had no choice but to put them as the main event. And I mean, like that's a tough act to follow. Like you had Rock and Austin.
Yeah.
Like, but they somehow managed to keep people fully engaged through it and work throughout the whole lot. Like even with the botch of the shooting star, like Angle, like being the veteran, carried him for what, a minute.
Yeah.
Like a minute. Like that's nothing then. Like that's a testament to like Lesnar, like how good he is, even though he's so young into the business. So yeah. I'm giving it a high 8. High 8.
LJ, would you like to give your score on this?
Yeah, so like obviously like this match it is unreal. Like it's, you know, I'm very much so, you know, I'm watching that and I'm really appreciating the wrestling as a wrestler, especially now. Like I understand, like I can understand it a lot more. You know, this wouldn't have been one that when I was younger that I would have like been crazy about, but it's now, you know, the kind of older I get, like I understand it a lot more. But, you know, I'm going to be honest, I don't think, you know, I think it's a great match and all, but this show for me is the Michaels Jericho show. Like, that's Michaels Jericho on Mania 19 is my favourite Mania match ever. Like, I think, no, obviously that doesn't take away from this match, but, like, when I think of Mania 19, I think of that. This is, now, saying that, this holds up as a main event. This is a well-done main event, you know, like, I think you were saying it, Jonathan, you know, like, it's very, sometimes the main events can be very hit or miss. You know, this one hits big time, but as well, I much prefer the Lesnar Angle Iron Man match on SmackDown later this year. Like I think that's unbelievable.
Yes.
So when I think of Lesnar Angle, I think of the Iron Man match, and even honestly, I even prefer the SummerSlam match as well over this. Now, obviously, they're just 3 unreal matches. Like, there's no bad. Like, this is in no way like bad at all. But you know what? Even you know what I said there. Like, you know, obviously, I appreciate it as I grow older. I remember watching the Iron Man match as a kid and getting really into. You know, where Angle puts the straps down and he puts them back up, and then he like takes them. Like, you know, I think that's like there was, and again, it's a real.
You had to pick one. That's the one you want to watch.
Yeah, and this one is like it's a real like it's a class match now, but there's. Oh, like it's, I said, like I can't critique Lesnar and Angle, like I'm not. But to me, like again, the wrestling that I like, even to go back to the Sean Brett thing, like it was like missing a bit, like I don't know, like a little bit more spectacle. I would have liked a bit more spectacle. Now, if the shooting star had a hit, maybe that was it. This match is unbelievable, but I'm gonna give it a 7 out of 10.
That's fair. That's fair.
It's unreal.
And for myself, you both have kind of hit the nail on the head. I mean, when you have Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar in a match, you know you're going to get quality, right? No matter what is, like, no matter when they meet, you're in for a treat. Hey, I rhymed. So several times they met afterwards. Do agree. This one to me was interesting for anybody who's only familiar with like current day Brock Lesnar. It's interesting to go back and look at matches like this where it's not all powerhouse.
Yeah.
It's not all destruction, destroy. It's more wrestling based and showing
Destruction. Yeah, that's such a good way to put it. Yeah.
It's showing more that he is a former NCAA champion. Like his credentials are there and can't be denied.
Mm-hmm.
And Kurt Angle, an Olympic gold medalist, like they're both legitimate like amateur wrestlers. And then they transitioned to business. Well, for the match itself, quality wise, I think it was fantastic. I do agree with LJ, however, that it did feel like, as for Mania, I don't know what it's missing, but it feels like it's missing something. Like that bit of spectacle, that bit of show. Yes, something. Now maybe that's me sullied from having that so often. Maybe I wouldn't have enjoyed it, but it just feels like that to me. I'm still
that's a big thing as well. It's like you're so used to now, like you look at things so differently. Like, and this is what watching. But I get exactly what you mean.
You know, maybe I'm sullied from it, but I'm still going to go pretty high. But I'm going to go 8.5 because I enjoyed the match. I think with those two in the ring, you're not going to go wrong. I just felt like I just wanted a fucking Kurt Angle and Brock Lesnar. What am I saying? But it's
I know. That's what I was thinking.
It
just felt like
there was like 3 Canadian destroyers. You would give them
and no selling whatsoever.
No selling whatsoever. And super kicks. Double super kicks, yeah.
But 8.5. I think you're never going to go wrong with them. But as LJ alluded to there as well, they did have better.
Yes, I agree with that.
But I would also agree with you, Ryan. Like if this was if someone gave us a 10, I'd be like, yeah, absolutely. I couldn't disagree. You know.
This is the type of
again, like we were saying off the
with our choices. Like
we were saying off the air. Like I mean, and again, I'm sure people in the comments will say, but this is completely subjective. Like this is our, and everybody's going to like something different, you know, and that's cool. Whatever floats your boat, man. You do you. And with that, we're moving on to the.